Let us turn to this link, which is the forum of the Biblewheel website. Uh, it's biblewheel.com/forum/show thread.php !70 dash spoke dash 15 dash and dash the dash 15th dash century. It's spoke 15 and the 15th century. And Richard talked about the printing press, and this is my post in the forum on the monarchy at the time, around the 15th century. Turn to Genesis 15. Genesis 15 is the 15th spoke of the inner wheel of Genesis, and you see how it relates to spoke 16 in general and the spoke 15 in general and the 15th century. Genesis 15 verse 1. After these things the word of the Lord came to Abraham in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. And Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus? And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad, and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. I'm going to skip. I'm going to the next part. So I had written on the subject. I posted the entire chapter because maybe you might find more insight related to the spoke 15 than I have. But here's what I discovered. The word steward reminded me of the house of Stuart. The house of Stuart, or Stuart, different spelling, was a royal house of the kingdom of Scotland, later also of the kingdom of England, and finally of the kingdom of Great Britain. Mary, Queen of the Scots, adopted the French spelling Stuart while in France to ensure that the Scots Stuart was pronounced correctly. The name itself originates from the ancient hereditary Scottish title High Steward of Scotland. The House of Stuart ruled the Kingdom of Scotland for 336 years, between 1371 and 1707. Queen Elizabeth I of England's closest heir was King James VI of Scotland via her grandfather, King Henry of England, who was founder of the House of Tudor. James Stuart also ascended the thrones of the Kingdom of England and the Kingdom of Ireland, providing the head of all three home nations, inheriting English claims to the French throne between 1603 and 1707. During this period, the Stuarts styled themselves queens of Great Britain, though there was no parliamentary union until the reign of Queen Anne, the last monarch of the House of Stuart. The Stuarts were followed by the House of Hanover, who were dynastically important from a Protestant point of view, especially in the cause of uniting Ireland under the London government. Members of the various cadet and illegitimate branches still survive today. The original clan Stuart will still extant. Robert II, 1371 to 90. The House of Bruce ended with David II, who was childless. It is my personal opinion, however, that since the following kings through James VI of Scotland and I of England were all direct descendants of Robert the Bruce through his daughter, that the House of Bruce did continue even if the father of Robert II was a Stuart. But then I am a Bruce, so of course I would think so. Wow. Well, the link which I opened doesn't exist anymore. But the content was copied and pasted. I copied and pasted in the forum back in 2007. In any case, you can also Google. You can perhaps find it in Wikipedia or elsewhere on the story of the House of Stuart. But this is what I had found. Robert the Bruce's daughter Marjorie married Walter Stuart, the 6th High Steward of Scotland. The name Stuart was a hereditary title bestowed by David I. Marjorie died giving birth to Robert II, the founder of the Stuart dynasty and the grandson of Robert the Bruce. He had been appointed guardian of Scotland twice during the reign of David II and was an experienced statesman. Apparently he was experienced in other things too, since he produced 21 children, 13 legitimate and 8 illegitimate. His first wife was Elizabeth, the daughter of Sir Adam Muir of Rowland, 9 children, and his second wife was Euphemia, daughter of Hugh, Earl of Ross, 4 children. As with his uncle David II, he did not have the fighting spirit of his grandfather and was a passive person who had a hard time controlling his family or his kingdom. Once again, there was war between England and Scotland. Scotland was assisted by France under the terms of the Old Alliance. Notice the connection that David II was claimed to be childless, just as Abraham was childless. And just as Abraham asked God that his steward would inherit the land, in this case, the 6th steward of Scotland, eventually Walter Stuart, eventually inherited the kingdom. Let's continue. One son of Robert II was Alexander, the Wolf of Badenoch, whose son abducted the widowed Countess of Mar and assumed the earldom. Other sons included the Earl of Strathearn and the Earl of Atholl. Regardless of the weakness of the crown and the strength of the nobles, Robert II was still the 99th King of Scots, counting from the mythical Fergus. On to my next thread, my next posting, that is. Okay, the Scots got their name from the position they held in the 14th century, but in the 15th century they played a big role. Aligning on Spoke 15, the Bible's books are Ezra, Haggai, and James. I don't know if Ezra or Haggai would link to the 15th century, but the name James plays a big role. Here are the kings of Scotland and England and their dates. So you'll notice Robert II reigned, this is the House of Stuart. Robert II reigned 1371 to 1390. Robert the third reigned from 1390 to 1406. So 1406 is already the 15th century. And in comes James the First from 1406 to 1437. James the Second from 1437 to 1460. James the Third from 1460 to 1488. James the Fourth from 1488 to 1513. And it goes on to the 16th century. James the Fifth is from 1513 to 1542. Then you have Mary Queen of Scots, 1542 to 1587. And James the Sixth is from 1567 to 1603. James the Sixth is also known as the King James of the authorized King James Bible, which became the King James the First of Great Britain. But you see how many Jameses, for the entire 15th century, Scotland was ruled by, or was reigned by Jameses, like 5 Jameses, or maybe 4 Jameses. It's amazing. Notice all the James that span throughout the 15th century. It was under the last James, King James the Sixth, that the King James Bible was written. Book in Hebrew is Sofer. The following was Richard's response to what I had posted, saying, "Thanks Gilgal, this will prove to be a very interesting topic. I'm going to make a new subsection called the Wheel of History and move this thread there since it deserves its own forum. And as well it should, since Stuart is derived directly from Stuart, and he later added more to his post. Hi Gilgal, thanks for pointing this out. I find the fact that the name James was introduced very near the beginning of the 15th century and then continued to break through the entire century quite intriguing. It makes me wonder if there are other similar links with other kings. In general, the whole rise and fall of the kingdoms in Europe follows the pattern of the Hebrew alphabet and is symmetric with the rise and fall of Israel when the time line is reflected about the 1st century when Christ the Alpha and Omega Aleph Tav entered world history, as seen in the image below, which is from my article, The Key to the Kingdoms.